Welcome back to Basics Powwow with Ron and Kelly and our special guest Michael. Michael, how are you today?
I'm doing all right.
Good, Michael. Michael, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I'm 25. I have a daughter, and I play music in a band.
Oh, he's a bandy.
Yeah.
How about you? Like, are you got a lot of roadies out there?
Some.
Yeah.
I block a lot of them.
You block a lot of the roadies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand. You can block some shit, but whatever, right?
Well, drugs are kind of a good reason to block people.
Oh, absolutely. We don't do drugs on our team.
No.
All right, so
Especially since I'm his mom, he better not be doing drugs.
right. So with that being said, Michael was what?
Oh, God, how old was I?
In 2014.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you were born in 97.
Well, math is a hard subject for me.
Well, you weren't 20, so you were 3 years shy of being 20. So you were 17.
17. All right. So, Michael, tell us a little bit
16
about what you experienced in the basement of your great grandparents' basement.
I went down with my cousin first because we were watching some Ghost Adventures and we wanted to test it out for ourselves. And of course, the creepiest room in the whole house was my grandmother's workshop area, covered in cobwebs, lights out, completely terrifying. I downloaded a thermal imaging app on my phone, walked around, and when I got towards the back left corner, I saw what looked like a person sitting down in a chair. And when I turned back to look towards it, it was gone.
Okay.
So
was it a full figured person or was it just kind of like a?
It was full figured.
Okay.
I could see arms, feet, legs, head, everything. And like I said, by the time I turned back to look towards it, it was gone.
Now, Kelly, you never mentioned that to me. I didn't know that. I didn't hear that.
Or at least I didn't remember him telling me about it.
One of you guys play with your mics right here. There you go. Perfect.
That was mine.
All right. So that's where it all started for you. Is that when you first got into the paranormal?
Yes, actually.
Okay. What else? What else is very interesting about the basement? What else did you experience down there while you were there?
I had my buddy Noah come over because he was a great paranormal fan. And at this point, I had an EVP recorder I got from Walgreens. And I took it down. We did a few tests, did walk around the whole area. Not really spooky happened other than my phone went from 75% charge to no charge.
That happens.
Yeah, it scared me because I had my phone out to check the time and it just drained.
Wow. So when they say when there's entities or there's spirits around, there's a lot of they use what energy they can find to manifest their knowledge or their, what do you call it? Their
presence.
Yes, that's it. Perfect. Manifest the presence. So did you hear anything? Did you ever hear anything down there?
A few knocks and bumps throughout the room. I made sure that it was just me and my buddy in the house. My mom was at work. My grandparents were already asleep. I was single at the time, so I didn't have anybody else over.
I was home.
You were at work.
No, I wasn't. I was home.
Okay. It don't matter. It was
either way, you were nowhere in that
I wasn't
area.
in the room where you guys were, but I was home.
And towards the end, we asked, I can't remember what question we asked. And then we walked out. When we got back up to my room upstairs, we played back, and then we immediately heard a woman speaking like she was talking how I am right now.
Okay. So I have a recording with us that they were able to find. Now, we don't have the original. It's the EVP file. It's not the actual recording from the EVP recorder, and it's very short. So we're going to play it for you now. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let me pull this bad boy up.
Yeah, it's only about 7 seconds long, so it's not the full recording of when they were down there.
All right, so I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to let you guys tell me what you think. Let's hear it again. Okay. So Michael, your mom and I sat here and we listened to that probably 100 times the other night. And I don't even think your mom pointed it out. I think I did. But I want you to listen to the voice. And I know you were young, right? And you may not remember everything. But I want you to pay a close detail to the pitch of the voice and how the voice presents itself, because I think I know who this is, just because I know who that was. I mean, I think I know who it is because I know who that person was. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that I want to hear, see
He
what you
knew the
got there.
person who he thinks it is.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Do you have any clue who you think might be that voice?
No.
Okay. Now, this will debunk everything if I'm wrong. But when did that person pass?
2009.
Okay. So that person passed approximately 4 years,
6.
6 years before you heard this recording, before you
5
caught
years.
this recording, 5
Yeah.
years, whatever, before you caught the recording.
Grandma Vicky.
That's exactly who I think it is, because she had this distinct voice that absolutely could not be matched by anybody else. That's who I believe it is.
It's been a while since I heard Grandma Vicky speak.
Yeah.
I can barely even remember what she looked like other than pictures that I've seen.
Hello.
But now that we kind of pointed you in that direction, can you hear that or
A little bit. It's just weird because I could also kind of distinctly hear what the voice says. Like, it sounds like they're saying he's taken.
now? See, I think it sounds like he's thinking.
He's thinking.
One of the two.
Okay, so I think that's odd. But what about the noise right before the voice?
That was so my grandmother had a metal gate leading into her art room, and it was pretty old, so it made that clanking noise whenever it opened.
Now, were you guys allowed over there when you played?
No,
Were we allowed down there when you were old enough to walk? I mean, come on.
No.
no.
I mean, we were allowed back there, but most of the time we stayed away from it. And the gate was always
Always. What?
It was always open.
I remember it closed a few times.
I always remembered it closed.
I remember it open.
But I'm going to tell you that basement, even before your mom passed, was spooky. Always spooky.
Yeah.
I have many incidences when I stayed the night down in the basement with David,
Yeah.
and I would look into that window into the pool area, and I would see somebody standing up against that glass staring at me.
Now, didn't you mention that a couple weeks ago?
I did. I actually mentioned you would look through that plexiglass and you would see somebody walking back there.
Oh man, I really wish your aunt will let us investigate that place.
Yeah, I
that
asked
would
her.
be
She
awesome.
said no.
Yeah.
But she did say because right now, if she's got ghosts, they're not bothering her and she is not going to bother them. If for any reason something changes and they start making their presence known to her, she will certainly give us a call and be like, "Get your ass over here and fix this."
Right. Well, there's no way that we can fix it. I mean, we're not exorcists. We're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we're not like priests and stuff, but
Or Ghostbusters.
or supernatural guys like Dean and
Sam.
Sam. But it is what it is.
All you need is, I think, a salt from Walgreens, and you're good.
All right, Walgreens, some lighter fluid, and a lighter. Find the bones, burn them, gone. You think that's really how it works?
I don't know.
I doubt it.
I mean,
if that's desecrating a human, basically human remains, and that's
Not necessarily, because
I mean,
salt is purifying.
but it's not the only show that I've ever seen that does that.
That's salt and burn.
That salt and burns.
Yeah, but you're not giving them a proper burial, which is usually
They're already buried.
Well, except for like in that one episode where they were in that asylum and the guy was all crunched up, mummified in the cabinet.
Yeah, but they didn't have it. What are they going to do? Be like, stop haunting for a minute. We're going to go bury your body really quick in
Right.
consecrated ground, and then we're going to burn your ass. And don't work
Right.
that way. You have to act on the spot.
Right. So, I mean, I do think that
Slow your roll.
I do think that ghosts are real.
Oh yeah.
I'm a firm
most
believer.
definitely,
And
because I have more experiences than just the ones in the basement at the house.
right.
Ones that I've investigated myself with me and my buddies.
So where have you investigated?
A few houses that were friends of ours they would call us and say, "Hey, do you guys do ghost hunt or paranormal hunting?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we do. We got some equipment we can use." Like, "Hey, can you? Well, if I give you like $25, can you guys come over?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not? That's fun for us." The one incident I had, and I don't have the recording of it, mostly because it freaked me out. It happened. I went up to the guy's room where he said he was having most of the experiences, and he had an Amazon Echo in his room. Now, I made sure everybody had their phones off, and we put them away, locked them up so nobody can futz with it. And when I asked it, well, what kind of presence is here? It immediately played the song Bad Company.
That's
And
nice.
I noped out of there.
So, do you have contact with those friends that you used to have?
I do, but most of them moved away, or they're working too much, or they're married, or
So, here's your homework assignment.
oh,
You're
boy.
going to talk to some of those people when you can. If you can, if you can't, then don't. No big deal. And find and see if anybody's up for having their places investigated. We don't charge $25.
No, we don't charge anything.
We don't charge anything to do a residential investigation.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact,
We're
we
commercial.
will pay to do investigations in different locations that have already been distinguished as distinct.
I do know that one guy, the one that had the Amazon Echo in his room, he moved out because it started getting violent. He has scars from it clawing him up and everything, and he noped out of there.
Oh, I would have done the same thing.
Hell
Don't get me
yeah.
wrong. But
I would have salted my room.
He's actually Catholic, going to become a Catholic priest.
who lives there now? Do you know?
No.
Damn the long. Well, now we need to find out who lives there and just send them letters like the Watcher.
That's called stalking.
No, we just find us. Hey, I'm the guy watching your house. I know you had a lot of paranormal activity in this house at one point in time. You want to have it investigated? No, we don't do that stuff either. But
No.
if you guys out there watching have or know anybody that has any type of paranormal activity in their homes, place of business, whatever the case might be. It could be a park. It could be an abandoned amusement park. It could be a graveyard. It could be anywhere that we can have access to. We would be more than welcome. Or I'm sorry,
More than
happy. Oh, I'd welcome myself. Don't get me wrong. But we would be more than happy to come out and take a look and see if we can kind of figure out what's going on. As paranormal investigators, one of the things that I pride myself on is that, yeah, I do believe in spirits. I believe in ghosts, but I do believe, number one, that everything happens for a reason and everything's got a cause and effect. So
Absolutely.
if whatever is going on per se, you think you hear ghosts, you think you hear spirits, this, that, and the other, we'll come out and investigate. So,
Yeah,
and my
absolutely, for
job, what I want to do is I want to prove there isn't anything. I want to say, oh, this is the reason why you're feeling this. This is the reason why you're experiencing this or that. So that's kind of what we do there.
Yeah.
So we're going to play that clip for you one more time.
Let us know what you think it says.
Let us know in the comments. I'm going to play it one more time, and I'd like to introduce Mason. Come on in. This is Mason. This is my boy. You may recognize him and I from Fatter and Son podcast, which he ended up doing baseball, and that came too much for us. So anyway, we're doing this stuff.
I'm not here to get a shout out. I'm just coming to get trash and crap.
He's getting the trash. He's going to take out my trash. But I want you to listen to this clip. Michael, let him put your headphones on for a second. All right, Mason, I want you to tell me what you think this is what is being said here. The female voice. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Listen to it again. What do you think?
Okay, I heard keep thinking.
I heard he's thinking.
I heard keep thinking.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, it could be a million other things. All right, Mace, take out the trash and give Michael his microphone back or headphones back. What?
Where's your dishes?
My dishes are in the jar.
He's got a dish drawer.
I got a dish drawer.
So we got to figure out a way to cut him out.
Well,
Nah. That's why we do these powwows and we just have a good time doing it.
we do.
I'm just getting the big stuff. I ain't taking the little.
Okay.
Oh, that's fine, bub.
See you, pops. I'm probably going to bed soon.
All right, Bubba. Love you. I
Bye,
said
kiddo.
that online.
You mother beeper.
He censored himself too. That's impressive.
Yeah, he's crazy.
He is your kid.
Now there is no doubt about that. All right, let's see where we are at.
Do we want to talk about what we were talking about?
So, yeah, I think we do.
Okay.
Okay, so are we doing the St. Louis one?
No.
We're doing the
Amityville.
Okay, so in this powwow tonight, this is True Powwow episode number 1. So we're going to be talking about Amityville. That's it.
God, the man can't
And
talk.
we're going to be focusing on not just the paranormal activity that allegedly took place, but we're going to talk about before the Lutzes moved in and their ties with, I think you said they had ties with the mob.
It is believed. So we'll get into all that. So without further ado, you want me to go ahead and take it from here?
Yep. And I will tell you that anything that we come up with, fact or non-fact, we will have it documented on Facebook as well as our YouTube channel. And we will have anything that we put down that we find that is actual facts or suggestible facts.
Anywhere we get information from,
We're gonna cite that in our
everything.
cite everything for you guys, so that way you can look up the material and you know that we did not just make up a bunch of crap. So,
Right.
But it is what it is. So Kelly, with further ado, I'm gonna leave it to you, and we're just gonna follow in.
All right. So most people know the story of Amityville. On November 13th, 1974, Robert DeFeo Jr. Took a 35 caliber Marlin rifle and shot and killed all 6 members of his family. He then went down the street to the bar and said, I need help. I think my parents have been shot. And himself, along with some other men from the bar, went back up to the house. They went upstairs where they found Big Ron, which was what they called Robert DeFeo Sr., his wife, and then their 6 kids, their 2 daughters and 2 sons.
And they were all dead, right?
And they were all dead. They had all been shot in the head. They'd all been shot, they were all in bed. Initially he said, somebody broke in. I found my family like this, but then, over the course of the investigation, it was, found obviously that he had done it himself. His defense attorney, I can't think of his name at the top of my head right now, had tried to come up with a suggestion that he was possessed. That he did because he heard demonic voices. It was later, that was never believed, obviously, and he was convicted of 2nd-degree murder of all 6 members of his family.
Now, I'm going to jump in.
And that was in November of 74.
So I'm going to jump
75,
in.
He was convicted.
And I don't know if you guys have seen the Netflix documentary on Amityville, but it does explain that, and it talks about the voices he heard in his head that told him to do it.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, right. And everything is allegedly because we weren't there. We don't know. We just know what's been reported and what Hollywood has made it out to be.
Right.
Right. So, but it was reported in there on that documentary. There's 2 or 3 different documentaries that I know that are on for the Amityville.
There are 28 actually.
Oh, my bad. I'm a miscounter.
28 movies.
No,
So,
I have a
movies or docs?
Movies and documents.
Well, see, now I don't consider the Amityville movies and Amityville 1, 2, and then you got them Amityville vampires and Amityville this and whatever the crap is. And I can't say Amityville, but whatever.
Amityville Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
I need you to check your phone.
Huh?
I need you to check your phone.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, but I don't want to interrupt your whole thing. So
Well, you already did.
whatever.
So going on,
Well, I have a question about that.
what?
You said they were all in their bed when they got shot,
They were all in bed, yes.
and obviously he didn't have a silencer or anything to muffle the noise. So, how is it that they did not hear that shot?
They
again?
don't know. That was one of the biggest things that they could not come up with. How, when he shot,
Hi, Kelly.
Good night, sweetie. When he shot and killed his parents, did the 4 other kids not wake up?
Yeah, because
Because a Marlin 35 caliber is pretty
rifle
loud.
or shotgun.
Rifle.
Okay.
No, it was a shotgun, right? No, it was a rifle.
It was a rifle.
The
So
movie used shotguns.
the movie in the movie, that came out in 1979, they put it as there was a thunderstorm that night and he shot during any time thunderstruck, so it would mask the sound of the rifle.
That's some perfect timing shots, if I can say that myself.
Yeah, and what's funny is there really wasn't a storm.
There was not a storm that night.
There was not
it was
a storm.
perfectly clear night. They don't know. That was the one thing that's why it was second degree murder. They couldn't prove that he had planned it out to make it first degree murder, to make it premeditated. But they could not say how or why. Nobody in the house heard the initial shots and were alerted.
Well, I do know that in some other cases that had demonic incidences, that the force is so powerful that they can keep the other person in the house from hearing anything going on. Like
Right.
someone would be pounding on the door, screaming
Right.
bloody murder, and the person just sitting there passed out asleep.
Right.
You
And this happened at 3:15 in the morning when he killed his family.
which
Usually
is
witching
also
hour,
right at witching hour.
which is when demonic and regular spirits are usually the most powerful.
Right.
And every night that the Lutzes lived there.
So 13 months after the murders is when the Lutz family moved into the house. They bought it. This was a 3-story house, 4,000 square feet, built in 1924. And they bought this house in Amityville that had a boathouse. It was on the lake. This was a beautiful home. It is a beautiful home. It still exists. It's at 112 Ocean Avenue.
Don't go there.
No,
We're not telling you to go there.
you
but
can't.
it is listed on the internet where it's at. So
It is privately owned. Do not go back. Do not try and go to this house. You will get arrested for trespassing.
You can't buy the house.
It's already owned. It's
already
privately owned. Somebody lives there. So
Lucky.
when the Lutz family bought the house 13 months later, they bought the house for $80,000. Okay. Now I'm going to do this is in 1975. So, but still a 4,000 square foot home in Amityville, New York. This is a luxury area. $80,000 is a big discount. When they bought the house, it was, the Lutz family. It was husband and wife, George and Kathy Lutz, and then their 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. They bought the house with the original furniture. So the DeFeo family furniture was still in the house.
Everything from the ashtrays to the pool table.
Everything
So
was in the
that had
house.
all demonic entity,
So
all over it.
yeah, so it said that George Lutz would wake up every night at 3:15 in the morning. At one time, he woke up and his wife had turned into an old woman before his eyes.
Mhm.
That was in the movie.
Both versions. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, it was in all the movies. There was also where their daughter would talk about having an imaginary friend named Jody, who was a pig. Now, speaking of demonic and a pig is something that is linked to being a demonic force or
Correct.
demonic entity. So
I always thought the goat was
goats too, but pigs too.
Okay.
They did not live there very long. I believe they only lived there a couple weeks, like 3 weeks or something. They left, never to return. They said there was at one point green ooze coming out of the walls. There was damages to the windows. They were a very strict Catholic family. They had they invited a priest over to come and bless the house. And it's, they said that the priest came in and went up to the second floor and into the sewing room and was performing his blessing. And all of a sudden he heard a voice say, "Get out." Again, that's in the movie. They said he strongly advised them not to turn that into a bedroom. Did they listen? No, they turned it into a bedroom.
In the movie.
No, actually, they turned that room into.
Oh, that was the actual bedroom.
Yes, it was a sewing room that they turned into a bedroom. So, anyway, they were saying all those things going on. At one point, George Lutz said he had seen hoof prints in the snow or surrounding the house. So all these things are going on. They pack up. They were only there for 3 weeks. 3 weeks to 3 months. I can't remember which. If you remember,
I think it was 3 weeks
Was it
because I
3
think in the
weeks?
documentary it was talking about they only stayed there for like 35 to 40 days.
yeah, something like that.
I'd have to correct myself if I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, it
It's been a
wasn't
minute
very
since
long.
I've seen the documentary, but it was not long at all.
It was not very long at all. So they pack up, they leave, never return. Months after, obviously, they've left the house, our favorite investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, show up. Ed and Lorraine Warren, if you don't know, are husband and wife pair of paranormal investigators. She claimed to be a clairvoyant. He claimed to be a demonologist. They were linked to multiple paranormal investigations.
Even some overseas too.
Some overseas.
Yes.
Yep. They had performed a seance in the house. They invited reporters. They invited mediums with them. So this was all taking place, at the house. At one point, a couple of the reporters were taking pictures on the second floor landing, because this was a 3-story house. They were on the second floor landing.
And the boy poking his head out by the door.
They took a picture. There was nothing there, and then there was on several other pictures, but then another picture there was a face of a boy peering
Right.
out from around the corner. Many believe this to be James DeFeo, who was their 9-year-old son who was killed.
Because didn't they like compare the actual picture
They
of him?
compared the actual picture side by side. It was never debunked, so it was out there.
And that what she's talking about is more on the factual line, because there's actually a picture out there with that on there.
There is.
And I'll put that up during this segment, and we will show you that picture, and you can take a look for yourself. We will also cite that picture.
We'll cite the picture, but there is more to that story. But
There's a lot more to this whole thing.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
There's
more.
a lot.
So that's the DeFeo family. That's the Amityville story. Everybody knows the house to be believed to be haunted. DeFeo killed his family. The Lutz family moved in. They were plagued by paranormal. They left. Jay Anson was the author of the book in 1979, The Amityville Horror, which is what the movie was based off of. Now, we're going to get to the debunking part of this story.
Let's do it. Let's see what we got.
So,
And she's going to cite everything.
I
so-
will cite everything. A lot of this is on Wikipedia. A lot of this is stuff I already know. Of course, Wikipedia, there's a lot of different websites and stuff that you can find all this information. So that being said, Jay Anson wrote the book. Here's where with the debunking part of this story is George Lutz saying that he saw the hoof prints in the snow. Yes, they moved in there in December. Yes, they were only there for a very short time. There was never any snow. It never snowed while they were there.
Throughout the entire time they were there.
Yeah, the entire time, or the timeline. He said that he saw these hoof prints in the snow. There was never any snow, so how would he see hoof prints in the snow?
Well, could it have been like a demonic hallucination? Because they are known to do that too, aren't they?
Not to that extent.
Oh, Kelly, they
mean-
can make you look pretty and me look beautiful.
I mean, if he said
I
he
am
saw, if they say he saw his wife go from young to old,
See, that I could believe. And that's what I'm saying. There's things that about this story that make sense, and there's things that are obviously a lie.
Now, one of the things too, there is a part in that documentary that I mentioned, which I did see again on Netflix, where he heard noises around back and he went outside, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And he thought it was in the boathouse. He went into the boathouse, didn't find anything. As he was walking out, he looked up into the third floor bedroom, and you seen this shadow of a figure standing there in the light. He went up there and the girls were sound asleep.
Yeah.
So it could have been, the hoof prints or that all could have been tied into the telephone game of what happened and how it happened.
Right. Well, the thing is, when they wrote the book, or when Jay Anson wrote the book, there were things going on that basically he's telling you, he has said a lot of what they said was not true. One of the things about George Lutz, though, is he had a thing with the occult. He was very interested in the occult, and researched it a lot and messed around with it a lot. Played with Ouija boards. Don't play with fucking Ouija boards.
So you think he opened up the gateway to
He may
himself?
have. Another thing, that
Is there documentation on that?
yes, there is documentation on the fact that he was, interested in the occult, that he messed around with the occult, that he played with Ouija boards.
Well, that was like what, the 70s and
70s. It was 79
so
or
yeah,
75.
you can
So
get
yeah,
a Ouija board at like
we had a
$1.
Ouija board at our house when we were kids.
You
still
could buy
get-
it at Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's marketed as a toy. It ain't a toy. Stop messing with
Even
it.
them Walmart ones, man, can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
Don't mess with Ouija boards. Period. Don't mess with Ouija boards.
We're gonna have a Ouija board on the
I'm
show.
not coming back.
You could do that one by yourself. So Ron will be doing a podcast by himself with a Ouija board. I won't be here.
It probably will be the last
So-
episode ever.
And we're only in number 2.
A
Officially
couple of
number
other
one.
things, going back to the picture. So, and the guy has come out and said, this is what this is. And you can find this information. It is not James DeFeo. It is not James DeFeo. There were 2 guys. One guy was taking the pictures. Another guy was in that room laying down lines like cords and stuff. He was taping them down. He poked his head around the corner, and the eyes that are lit up are the reflection in his glasses. And if you look at the picture and you look through the bars of the stairwell, you can see his plaid shirt.
We're gonna put that picture in here.
So you'll see it. So when it came out, it looked, because nobody really thought about it. They're like, oh my God, there's nothing on this picture, but all of a sudden there's a picture of this little boy and it looks like James DeFeo. We're gonna run with it. And nobody thought to debunk it.
Well, that
And
was also, like he said, back in the 60s
70s.
and
It
70s.
was 1975,
so-
78, 75,
right.
76.
So nobody cared to think about that. Now,
So
if you watch that documentary on Netflix, you'll see that reporter that Lorraine invited out.
there were a couple reporters.
Right. But this was the female reporter.
Yeah.
And she said that she was sitting on the steps and felt sick.
Yeah.
Lorraine also said the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Now, I'm not saying that there was not something going on with that house. With the traumatic event that happened in 1974, I guarantee, I can't say as I guarantee, but I firmly believe that when you have a traumatic event, such as especially a mass murder of an entire family, that's going to leave an imprint. That is going, it's going to have a wound. That property is going to have a wound, a spiritual wound. So you're going to feel their fear. You're going to feel that, terror that they, felt, when they died.
no, I
So
absolutely
unexpectedly.
agree.
There's, he was not insane. Many believe, and even he said it himself, his father was extremely abusive to Butch. Butch is what they called, was Robert DeFeo Jr.'s nickname. DeFeo Sr. was extremely abusive. There's belief that he was tied in with the mob because, and here's why. He worked, I believe he had a very meagle job. You know what I mean? He wasn't like a businessman that made thousands and thousands of dollars a year. He did not make a lot of money. His wife, on the other hand, came from a very prominent family. So how he was affording the things he was affording, the portraits of his family, these were things very mobbish. So
Well, and again,
if you
these are
look-
hearsay.
yeah,
These aren't
these
things
are hearsay, but
these aren't
there's-
things that are written in stone or
no,
proven
not at
or anything
all.
like
But
that.
I said,
So
it's
we're
firmly
not.
believe that he had some ties with organized crime.
So to our viewers, if you do research on that and you find documentation of that or documentation discrediting that, please
let us know. Absolutely.
because we don't want to. The last thing we want to do is make it look like we know everything, because we don't.
No, God, no.
We're out here. We're having fun. This is what we do for fun, and honestly, I don't care. I don't care whether he was or he wasn't. I'm with Kelly on this. That if when you have a mass murder, especially of a family with all different ages of that, it's going to leave some sort of a spiritual imprint.
Yeah.
Look at that Netflix 28 Days Later with the
The Lawson family.
the Lawson family, which happened on a Christmas day, no less. So, which I didn't even realize that until the other day. I should have remembered that from the show, but nonetheless, that right there, and you've got to watch 28 Days Haunted if you
Yeah, it's
haven't
really
seen it,
good.
because
It's
it is
absolutely good.
very good. There are few far-fetched things in there, but there are some things in there that I do truly believe that very well could have been factual.
Right. And again, that comes back to the Warrens, because their son-in-law,
And yep, she's right.
their son-in-law is running it, and it's going on their theory that really to get a true investigation and evidence, you have to be at a place for 28 days
28 plus days in order to get to the bottom of what's going on, or
to break that bridge
break that
between the
bridge.
living and the dead.
So yeah, we're
But-
gonna figure that out one day, because one of these days we're gonna be rich and we're gonna be able to spend 28 days. And I would love to do it in the Amityville home.
They won't let you.
I know, but
I would
do it
love
in-
to, but it's, the family that lives there now says they've never experienced
Right.
anything. The home is beautiful. You can see the pictures of the home online. It's absolutely gorgeous. But with Amityville, I think, the son snapped. He did have, drug and alcohol, struggles. His father was abusive. And I think he just snapped and lost his mind temporarily and killed his family. There's many believe that the older sister was involved, the 18-year-old sister.
Now here's something to throw at you. Let's just say DeVeo Sr., right?
Mhm.
Had a violent history,
Big run.
right? You are saying he may have had ties with the mafia.
hmm
What if? What if?
It was a hit.
What if it was a hit?
Explains
And they-
why
and
nobody
they
got out of
paid-
bed.
And they paid Butch, or whatever whatever the
Butch.
dude's name that killed him, right?
Robert Feo Jr.
To take the
Butch.
fall. Because did he die in prison?
He died this year
Right.
or last year.
Was he in prison?
No, he died this year. Yeah, this year.
Did he die in prison?
Yes, he died in
He
prison.
died in prison. Or they potentially, I mean, when you're dealing with demonic spirits and you're dealing with ghosts and spirits and things like that, you can always add a twist. If you get somebody fucked up enough on drugs and alcohol, you can make them admit to anything. Right?
Oh yeah.
And there's been a documentary, and there's been something, and I don't know where it is, what it is, who said it, when it was done, but there's been an interview with Butch while he was in prison, not 5 years after the murders, and he supposedly came out and said that was all a hoax.
Yeah.
That there was no demons, none of this. I
He
just did
does.
it.
He did. That was the whole demonic possession thing at trial was his defense attorney's idea.
So here's my thought, and this is just a theory.
Weber, that's his name.
You hit your mic.
Weber.
No, you just hit your mic, your cord. So
Okay.
anyway,
Can you still
so-
hear me?
I can hear you, but I
Oh,
can hear the
okay.
buzzing. So here's my theory. If in fact DeVeo Sr. was mixed up in the mafia,
Mhm.
right? They got a hold of Butch and said, hey, we've got this perfect fail-safe plan to rid you of your abuse, and you won't have to serve time.
The mob don't do that.
But we don't know that, though.
Well, no, we don't.
We don't
but
know that. I've seen stranger things happen.
It's a good show.
It is, but you don't know that. We're going to come in and we're going to kill your whole family, and you're going to say
you're going to take the fall and spend the rest of your life in prison.
No. You're going to say the devil made me do it, and you're going to get an insanity plea, and you're going to walk. Now, what better way to get away from a crime than that? Now, in today's day and age, doubtful ever going to happen, right?
Never.
Unless you've got super solid video evidence and you can make sure that it wasn't deep faked.
Right.
But you've got to make sure you know what you're doing. But, it's a theory.
It
And
is
it could be
theory.
a stupid theory because it's my theory and I don't care about my theories. But she throws the mob into it. I'm going to
That's what
throw
I
a
said,
theory
there's,
into it.
Belief that he was involved in organized
And
crime.
it would make sense because if they did do the hit, it would make sense how nobody got out of bed after that.
It would.
After the first two shots,
And nobody heard the shots because they were muffled
Right.
and they were all killed at the same time.
within minutes,
Well,
I
and,
guess.
and see, the night that he killed him on the 13th, and I believe on the 14th, or like 7 hours after he had done the murder, he went down to the bar down the street where a lot of their friends were and said, "I need help. I think my parents have been shot."
I would have given, I would give anything to go back in time right now. You said he died last year?
I think he died this year.
So whenever he died, find out when he died. Look it up. So I would give anything to go back 5 years after the murders to pick his brain to find out what was going on in his head. If in fact what he
Not
said was
Robert Downey
real.
Jr.
I would have gone back to the day it happened and watched the house to see what happens.
That would be a good idea, but that freaked me the fuck out if there was
He
really
died
demons.
March 12th of 2021.
That would freak me out if there were
So
really
last
fucking
year.
demons walking around that place. You would see me fucking out of that place.
Right.
Right.
So
But at least you could say you saw what happened.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
but it's
And
believed.
I'd go back and find out who shot Kennedy too, which I honestly think that was a mob hit. But you know, we're not going to put that on the air.
No, we're
yes,
not.
we are.
No,
Actually,
we're
we will. It's going to get recorded, but I don't give a fuck.
Honestly, when it comes to the whole Amityville and Robert DeFeo, I think he suffered from some severe mental health, and combined with his drug and alcohol abuse, I think he hallucinated, believed he was hearing voices, believed he was seeing something, and because of the abuse with his father, he just snapped.
I agree. And you know what? That happens. That happens all the time.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I mean,
it does.
how many? I mean, in reality, how many fathers do abuse their children, and their children grow up to abuse their children?
Cycle of violence.
Cycle of violence. So it's very possible.
It's very possible. But,
So,
we're not going to get into that aspect of things. We're just talking about the ghost story. And,
but in the aspect of the theory of Amityville and the demons and the possessions or whatever thing, all that stuff that came with it, that's what everybody's into. That's what everybody
Yes.
wants to see.
that's what
Nobody's going to go tour that home because it's beautiful. If they were allow you to tour that home, they're going to want to see the basement and that red closet. That's what they're going to
there
want
was
to see.
not a red closet.
But there was, according to the Netflix.
Oh yes,
Netflix
there was a
title.
red closet. You know what I'm thinking about? The part where she goes, like the two friends go down and she's a clairvoyant and she's like, "Find a well. It's the passage to hell." That did
Yeah,
not happen.
yeah.
They also
But
put that in the Ryan Reynolds version too.
It's because it was a remake of the original movie.
well, in the Ryan Reynolds version, wasn't Lauren and I can't think. I can never.
Ed and Lorraine
yeah, weren't they? They were in that movie, right?
in the original.
In the
No.
no, not in the original, but they were in the Amityville because when they
I don't remember.
They
I've never
left-
seen it.
left the house, and the mom went back with the daughter to kill the daughter.
Yeah.
So, and that's where Lorraine was, and been down in the basement. That's where they were in the basement. But anyway, they were tied to all of that.
Yeah.
So, with that all being said,
So, but there's also belief that the 18-year-old daughter had a hand or was part of it.
I was just talking about the Lutz's family.
I know, but
And the remake with Ryan Reynolds, which out of all the people that could have played that character, I mean, I think he did a good job, but I don't know, man. That was just,
Oh, he did a good job, I thought.
I mean, well, there were two decent
Well,
remakes of the Amityville.
the guy that played George Lutz in the original movie looked a lot like Robert DeFeo Jr.
Did he?
Yeah, the guy that I can't. Was it James Brolin?
Oh, I don't know. But anyway, so we are coming up on 44 minutes in this episode of our first official B2B powwow. So that's good. And our special guest, Michael. And we did get to hear
Yes,
the
it was James
EVP, the EVP that he brought with us. And we're going to keep, I'm going to make sure that you guys are going to be able to hear that again. And we'll post the link down to the, back down into the, what do you call it? The
Comments.
comments.
The notes.
Yeah, that stuff.
The description.
So, yeah, that's fun. So a little bit about more of our kind of what our whole era is here, right here, aura, whatever you want to put it. I started Back to Basics Paranormal to do investigations locally and afar, as time and money allowed, so, with some of my closest friends. And this is what we do, and this is what we do it, and we do it and enjoy it. Kelly and I started the B2B powwow. So some weeks you'll see Jeff, which he would have been here tonight, but due to illness, he was not able to make it. So get better, get well soon, people. That being said, those are our actual Back to Basic Paranormal podcast, where we'll be breaking down episodes of
28 Days
28 Days Haunted.
which I believe the first episode we're gonna talk about the Lumber Baron Inn.
The Lumber Baron Inn. So if you guys have not watched 28 Days Haunted on Netflix, watch it. We're going to be recording, probably will not be recording that specific episode next week because that's Jeff's off week normally. So we'll end up doing another powwow that week anyway. So the following week, we'll be doing that one. Next week's powwow will be live. We're going to be live on TikTok, and we're going to be live YouTube and Facebook. So we're going to be live all the way around. So please join us, like us, check out our pages.
Follow us.
Follow us.
Only on social media. Don't follow us in real life.
Or
I
whatever.
mean, you can if you want to. I
mean,
mean, not that we're that interested.
I'm a fun man. Especially on my 47th birthday party, and I'm sure if you follow this, you can link me and find my videos that are all over Facebook.
He was fun.
But anyway, it was a good night. Michael, I'd love to have you back as a guest anytime.
I like to do this a lot.
So
Because all I do is sit at home and play a game.
you are, as we do these powwows, I mean, I don't know what kind of effect that's going to have on the Bailey, but having him come here all the time.
On the what?
Bailey.
Oh, Bailey.
Yeah.
Whenever
But
he don't come, she can come.
but I would prefer, whatever, doesn't matter. As our studio grows, as what my goal is, I've got one person I'm planning on meeting with on Sunday. I just spoke with her. So there's a possibility her group and our group may piggyback off each other, and we'll have her group come into the studio and do a podcast
Oh, cool.
with us, hopefully, if everything goes well. With that being said, I am looking to keep our group growing slow, because the faster we grow, the more equipment we need and the more space we need. And
if I would say, if any one of our friends has a story or would like to come on and share with
Anybody.
us and join, come in and sit down, sit up to the mic and tell your story, we'll talk about it.
And-
You're more than welcome.
and you don't even have to, in fact, come into the studio. More or less, we can do a video chat, kind of like through Teams or whatnot, through the programs that we use through our studio. We can actually link you in and send you a link, and you would be live with us. So
I have a buddy that I game with. He has a lot of paranormal stories, even ones including, I don't know if you heard of black-eyed children.
Chris or Joe?
Chris.
So you caught my ear at Black Eyed Joe.
Black-eyed children.
Children, not your dad.
He doesn't like talking about it much, but he has shared some with me. And I'm pretty sure if I talk to him, ask him about if he would like to, I'm sure he would love to.
And we could probably get him up on that screen up there.
Yeah, we would actually be able to pull them in. Absolutely. So this will all be up and running. We're going to be I would be doing a premiere event on this. Today is Thursday. We will premiere this. What
December
nights?
1st.
What nights are you working?
I'm working all weekend.
Not
Friday, Saturday,
not
and
weekend.
Sunday.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Next week? I don't know.
Okay.
Well, you need to find out.
Yeah.
Well, do you need me to take
Well, the reason we need to know is because when I put this live, I need either you here with me or you at home in the chat rooms. I would rather you not.
Yeah, because you serve and you don't want
No, I'll have it in the back. I'll have it in the back.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. The ghost of IHOP Pass will be in there. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate you coming out to us, seeing us tonight. We hanging out with myself, Kelly, and our special guest, Michael. We do plan on having Michael back with us probably more often than not when we do these powwows. I'm sure you'll see him on an investigation or two when we go out and investigate and things like that. Speaking of investigating, I do have some things lined up. I'm talking to some folks about getting some investigations nailed down so we can get those done and on air. And then hopefully shortly after the first of the year, as things go right, we're gonna get some merch out there. We're gonna get some hats and maybe some coolie cups, koozies. I'd
I'll
like to
definitely
get a
take
couple of
Decals.
because she's decal crazy. So when you're driving down the highway and you see a big old paranormal, back to basic paranormal sign, it's her, because I'm not putting that on my truck. Just kidding, I will. Anyway, any day of the week. So, all right. Thank you guys for joining us. We will see you next time.
Have a good night.